a lot of people have said that Joshua's had a lot of different coaches last few fights. Derrick James is a great coach. Ben Davison is a great coach. Joshua just put on a great performance. Here's a predicament now for him. Is he gonna? Because he still is with Derrick James. There just wasn't enough time for Derrick James to get him ready for this fight
Ah,
because of Derrick James' other commitments.
Yeah.
So, do you go back to Derrick James or do you stay with Ben Davison? So it's a tough one for Joshua, isn't it? Because he looked so good in that fight with Wallin.
we talk about styles. When it first happened, I didn't think that that was a good style for Joshua. I believe that the way he looked up now was the best style for him. Just because he's big and muscular, he doesn't have to. Because Derrick James has a lot of high guard, he a lot of stand stationary, a lot of blocking.
Mhm.
Um, them big, the best thing for him to do going rest of his career is to have head movement. He was pulling. They was pulling. He was slipping the violent shots, come back with counters. I think that's I think there is a great coach, probably the best in the game right now. But if styles make fights, and even some fights with me, we don't mix good. And it's vice versa because we kind of don't gel. So I believe that he looked real good on that with Davidson. He should stay with him.
Yeah, it's interesting because AnthonyJoshua is very athletic, coming from our hometown, Watford. This guy was breaking records, school records for the fastest ever 100-meter sprint. So
Who Josh-
we know who AnthonyJoshua was, yeah. So we know he's an athlete. So Coltrane,
we never we never knew that
uh, yeah,
because
Joshua he's an athlete, 100%
he
athlete.
appeared to be just big, strong, stand in front of you, boom, 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 with power, stationary. But the other day he looked like an athlete. He looked
Yeah,
elusive. He looked
yeah, maybe because the traditional style of English boxing is more of that sort of upright, hands high, sort of
yeah,
textbook style. Whereas Ben Davison, he also works with Lee Wiley, who's a great analyst, film analyst. So I'm sure a lot of us have seen his videos on YouTube. He's like the original and the best one. So they probably have more of a style more conducive to the American style of boxing. So that's a little bit different there. So Coltrane, who do you think Joshua should be working with if you were to choose sort of a coach? Obviously, you have to be respectful of the other coaches because, like we said, Derrick James is a great coach. But who do you think would suit Joshua's style most, especially coming from your Philly background? A lot of great coaches in Philadelphia, a great style of boxing. What do you think Joshua's sort of ideal coach would be?
I mean, you mean ideal, or should he stay with who he like between who he dealing with now, between the two?
Let's go for both. So ideally, who would you want to see him working with, and do you believe he should stay with Ben Davison now as well?
Yeah, I kind of with Coach Moo a little bit. I feel like again, Derrick James. He's the fall guy. He was the fall guy. Coach Moo, you guys know. I put it on my page like you guys kill me. Like 1 minute you love these guys, and then they lose into the best fighters in the world. Like Crawford beat Spence
Exactly.
up. That's Terrence Crawford. You know what I mean? Like, what do you want? You know,
Mm,
I just like going in
definitely.
social media. You know how many fighters Emmanuel Stewart had that lost big fights, one-sided fights, like Eddie Futch, the list goes on. But anyway, um, ideally what I had liked, and I told you this
Yeah,
before, Fade, is that I would have liked for him to come over here to the stateside, like Fury did, and pick some of these old school trainers' brains, like a guy like Sugar Hill, right? Who I know he don't always work with Fury, but the information is I'm an information guy. So even if you're not always working with these trainers, you're getting the information. So we have trainers here in America, and this is no shade to other countries, any of that, but a lot of these bigger guys, it was a reason why they came here to connect with guys like Emmanuel Stewart, because they wanted to learn the proper way on how to be big and not just standing in front of guys like robots. And I just felt like had Joshua did this early on in his career, I think his career is a lot different. I think he got comfortable. That guy got 16 million followers on Instagram. He became an overnight sensation. He looked the part. He looks like a movie star. So everything was, and it's not that he didn't work hard, but you got to factor all that stuff in. So he wasn't really hungry, like Bernard called it, the silk pajama mindset. He had those silk pajamas on, so he wasn't hungry. Where Fury, and Fury can come off as a goofball and all that, but don't get it twisted. When it came to his craft, he knew where to go to get the information from. So I don't have a name in mind in particular. And it's funny, it's weird how stuff works because I think Malik Scott would actually probably work better with Joshua than he does with Wilder. It's funny how that go, right? But I think he should stay with who he's with now. Me personally, there's no shit. It's no knock to Derrick Jones, only because Derrick got a lot going on. He got a lot going on right now, like fighters wise. So I think that some big fights are coming down the pike for Joshua. He could potentially get the winner. Well, I don't think he would fight Usyk again, but if Fury was to win, you and I know if Fury fight Anthony Joshua, that fight's gonna break all types of records in the history of boxing. Like that's like monumental. Like we talking like the Beatles type stuff. It's just America don't even need to tune in, and it'll still break all types of records. But I just think he needs to stay status quo, man. Like don't keep it simple. Don't try to rewrite it. Just keep it as is, and then go from there. He probably got a few years left. I don't think he's staying around boxing. He's not gonna be a lifer in this sport. Probably got like 2-3 years left.